Six Nations 2022, folks. Looking back at Wales's campaign. I know it's sometime after the fact now, but we've got all the final season stats kind of all sorted, and I'm enjoying having a wee look at the comparison between the 2021 and 2022 numbers to see where things went right and where things went wrong. We already looked at Italy, which certainly showed some key improvements in key areas from their 2021 season through to this year. What about Wales? We'll start with their record before we get to the stats and the final verdict, but the record is clearly far worse than we saw in 2021. That goes without saying. 2021, they finished first. They only dropped the one game. They scored 20 tries. They score 164 points. It's a Six Nations title in 2021 for Pivac and the boys. But then this year, it kind of goes to custard. They finish fifth. Just the one win, 4 losses, including a home loss to Italy for the first time ever. They can only manage 76 points, 8 tries, so fewer than half of what we saw the year before. The points difference goes from a positive of 61 to a negative of 28. So clearly the record in 2022 can't hold a candle to what we saw in 2021. But is it all bad news? Well, the stats are a bit of a mixed bag. It's not all bad. There are actually some areas where Wales seemingly have taken some good steps, but a few areas that clearly didn't click. Firstly, the good stuff. 2021, they were defensively not as sharp, believe it or not. They conceded more tries in 2021. They conceded 11 to just 8 in this campaign. They conceded far more clean breaks, averaging 8.4 a game. So their line was getting broken, and clean breaks lead to tries. Just 5.2 in the 2022 campaign. So that's a key area that has been improved. The tackling percentage makes a marginal step up from 88% to 89.6, but every step in the right direction can be counted as a good one. Even with ball in hand, they do manage to run more meters, 387 to 310. They do have more possession, so in that regard, you're probably going to concede fewer clean breaks if you have more ball, because you're going to have to do less defending. You're probably going to get more run meters if you've got more ball, but it's not a huge difference. I think they averaged 47% possession in 2021, like 49 point something in 2022. So it's a marginal difference, but also has a flow-on effect to all the other numbers. They weren't kicking more. They weren't conceding more penalties. A lot of the stats are very, very static from last year, but certainly clean breaks conceded, tries conceded, these are good things to be improving on, absolutely. But there's a big but. The first one is not one you might think of, but it's an area that the All Blacks struggled with, especially at the end of last year when they had kind of a poor tour to Europe. The number of rucks Wales is losing has gone up pretty high. They were only losing 2.8 rucks a game in the 2021 campaign, so very secure over their own ball, whereas they're losing 5.6 in this campaign. So that may sound like a small difference, but most teams have really high ruck completion rates in the high 90s. Wales really dipped down, which, as I said, for the All Blacks, that was a key area where we were kind of able to identify our guys are being blown off the ball too easily. There's a bit of soft play going on. And I know Wales in the 2022 campaign compared to 2021 are without some kind of key guys in that area, especially some of the loosies. Justin Tipuric absence is a massive one, but that is what it is. I mentioned their clean breaks conceded was lower, which was a good thing, but their ability to generate clean breaks has also dropped by pretty much half, not quite. 6.2 clean breaks they were averaging in 2021 and 3.4 in 2022. And that's, I think, got a direct correlation to the amount of tries they were able to score. They scored 20 tries last campaign, just 8 this one. So 6.2 clean breaks down to 3.4. And if you look at the try scorers from 2021, I do think it tells a story. You got 20 tries, and you have 9 of them from your outside backs. The likes of Reece Zammit, who was on fire, Liam Williams, Josh Adams. They all bagged a few tries. Even Faletau got one when he was out wide, right? There were loads of Wales tries scored with width. It wasn't... I mean, to be fair, a lot of them were with advantage, and a fair few of them were actually with the man advantage as well. 8 of the tries of the 20 was when it was 15 v 14, and 6 of the 20 were with advantage. Only 2 were from mauls, so Wales scored some really good tries. Whether it was 15 or 14 on 15 or 15, doesn't really matter. Either way, they were able to exploit a lot of width in the 2021 campaign. Whereas when you look at the 2022 campaign, 8 tries, only 2 to your outside backs. You've still got 2 maul tries, so the bulk of them, or the percentage which are maul tries, kind of shoots up because it's 2 out of 8 instead of 2 out of 20. You've got Tompkins who gets one. You've got Basham who kind of gets one from turnover ball. So, yeah, really a big change in the ability for guys like Reece Adams and Liam Williams to kind of profit. So, yeah, it's a wee bit troubling that their attack just seemed blunt compared to the slick moves we saw being performed last year. Final stats point before I drown you in the numbers. Wales essentially started every game terribly. They conceded 104 points across the entire campaign, and I like to divide the game up into quarters to see where the bulk of the points are being scored. Well, Wales, of the 104 points they conceded, 40 were in the first 20 minutes. So 1/4 of the game has not quite half the points scored against them. Pretty bad. They lost every single first 20 they played. So Wales score 76 points across the whole campaign. They only managed 12 points in the first quarter across all 5 games they played. They just can't start games well, and I don't know how you fix that one. What do you tell your players? Just don't be crap when the game starts. So, yeah, some pretty troubling stuff. But like I said, it's not all bad. I do appreciate that there is some improvement. They conceded fewer tries. They weren't being broken down as easily. Of the tries they scored, a fair few of them were kind of out wide. One of them was 15 v 14 against Ireland when they had a man in the bin. The Geelong one was kind of pretty tough against France's best move of the entire game, managed to score against them. Graham was kind of beating Reece Sammer in a one-on-one. The Padavani one came from Josh Adams missing a tackle. So a few kind of key missed one-on-ones leading to tries. The Dom Brandt try in the England game was a line-out kind of going astray. So there were a few tries against Wales which was more of an individual failure than a systems failure. So I don't think it's all bad. That being said, the verdict in terms of meets expectations, exceeds expectations, does not meet expectations. If you go from champions to second to last and lose to Italy for the first time ever, mate, your verdict's a bad one. You didn't meet expectations. You didn't get close. So, yeah, disappointing campaign. I don't want to be too reactionary and just write Wales off, because I know that happens a fair bit and these guys always tend to bounce back. Remember, that happened before the Scotland game. Everyone was writing Wales off before that game, and that game they actually managed to kind of give the home fans something to cheer about. But yes, some things, especially on attack, need to go right for the Welsh, and they need to start games a lot better than they're doing, because if you're going to go to South Africa and give them a 6-point, 10-point, 12-point lead, you're going to make life pretty hard for yourself. But there you go. Hope it wasn't too much stats overload for you guys. You know I love my stats. We do need to take them with caution, because you can read too much into them. They don't tell a complete story. I look at them as just kind of reinforcing or giving evidence for some of the stuff you see with your own eyes, right? Just looking at the stats isn't enough. You need to kind of balance it with what you've seen on the pitch. But anyway, hopefully we get the likes of Reece and Adams. Adams scored a couple of tries, but Reece had a pretty quiet campaign. Hopefully we get these guys back scoring some tries. But there you go, Wales for 2022. You guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.